Hi everyone. We have some housekeeping to do today. Things are moving very quickly. Getting ready for the steemfilm introductory blog. By the looks of it now, it'll be Tuesday. I guess what I want to talk about today is something that came up in discussion over the last couple of days, since the last blog, and that is that how we're going to deal with the vlogs themselves. And it became evident to us in our discussion that we're going to have to edit some of the stuff out. It's just, when we looked at it closely, I mean, there are times that we talk about, the Cavs and the Warriors. We're talking about the Blue Jays. We're talking about the Yanks. We're talking about the weather. We're taking pee breaks and coffee breaks and stuff like that. And so consequently, that type of content, uninteresting content, mundane content, content that really isn't pertinent to what the vlog is all about, is stuff that we're going to edit out. But when you start editing stuff out, sometimes for convenience, or whatever it might be, you get a little carried away. So we did make a commitment, and I don't know how else other than to state to you categorically that it's our intention not to edit anything that is pertinent to what the reason for the content is. In other words, we're not going to censor anything. What's said is said. If I make a complete fool of myself, which I have a tendency to do sometime, not a lot of the time, but if I do, it's being left in. And I think that's important to the originality of the content. However, if it's going to be, as I say, something not pertinent, we're going to edit that out. Then the question came is, how do we acknowledge that? Well, we're going to acknowledge an edit by having a fade in, a fade out, or fade out, fade in, or a sweep or whatever, and so that you'll know an edit has occurred. We're not going to try to imposition, one frame over another to make it look seamless. We're going to actually identify the edit so that you know that an edit has occurred. Okay, so I'd like your comment on that. I want to know that you're comfortable with that. So please make comments if you would. The other thing that's cropped up is we want to keep the interest level very high. And sometimes when you're doing self-tapes like this may be with a camera mounted on a tripod, it can get pretty uninteresting. And so we're actually toying with the idea of maybe having a videographer work with us. Now that does add cost to the film, but we have an obligation to you, a huge obligation to you, to make sure that we do everything we possibly can to keep the content level very interesting, content that's exciting, etc. And something tells me that that's going to best be served by having maybe a stand-up camera to get the cover shot, and then to have a videographer moving around the room, and you'll see that on the cover shot. To have the videographer moving around the room to get some different angles, close-ups and whatnot of what we're saying. We're probably going to try that and see how that works. But I'm thinking, hell, this is, steemfilm, so I think we have to pay something more than lip service to the quality of the vlogs. I don't want to go overboard without question, but I do want this to be something that you're going to want to tune into on a regular basis, all right? So that's where we're at with the actual vlogs themselves. Now, I have another announcement to tell you about. I think I might have alluded to this before in an earlier blog, and I'm not sure. I've got to start straightening this up. Right? It's got to be blogs or vlogs. I guess I'm going to call them vlogs from now on. I think that's probably the right terminology. Anyway, we're going to have what's called, as part of steemfilm, a monologue contest. We'll select a monologue for male and female, and then we're going to ask you to submit your self-tapes for that monologue, and there will be a reward for doing so. We want to encourage actors to hone their skills, and that's the purpose for the monologue contest. I also want to see if I can't find somebody recognized, somebody in the industry that's got a rep, that can help us in the adjudication of those monologues. I'm working on that. I don't know how successful I will be, but I will do my damnedest to make sure that, excuse me, that we have some professionalism when it comes to the selection of those monologues. So keep that in mind. We'll be talking about that again probably in the next couple of days as we nail these things down. Today's Saturday, so Dan will be in tomorrow. So we'll really be firing up the engines and moving forward. Once Dan gets here, it's going to be a power pack 3 days. Okay. One other thing I do want to clarify, and I really want you to understand how we're going to differentiate. Although steemfilm will be the handle under which the logo contest, the monologue contest, the film and whatnot will be posted, we will identify with each blog where the rewards that each vlog gets will go. In other words, when we will be talking about the film Best Left Unsaid, we will state, probably at the very beginning, maybe even the title line, that it's a film blog and any rewards go to the funding of the film. When it comes to the monologue or the logo contest and others that we're going to be coming up with, we will state that clearly as well, so that everybody is able to understand from a steemfilm point of view that which is the feature film, that which is steemfilm, its contests and everything else that steemfilm is going to do. I also would like to say to you, so I hope that's clear. I don't know how just we're going to do that, and we'll probably do a test on it, and we'll look for your feedback on it. But once we set these things in motion, I don't want to be starting to change them down the line if we can avoid that, because continuity is going to be very important. Another thing I want to share with you, this is in the back of my mind, and it may be extremely exciting. At least it is for me. When I first broke into this business, there was a man by the name of Jim Betts. He's a Canadian, how should I put it, storyteller. Jim is just an incredible man. He's written some astonishing plays, musicals, and I had the good fortune to work with him in a couple, two that he wrote actually, and one in particular I've just had a complete fascination with. Again, keep in mind I only broke into the business about 15 years ago, no more than that, I guess 16, 17 years ago now. But Jim I met when we lived up in Orangeville, and Jim was an artistic director for Orangeville Theater. And one play that he wrote that is just so incredible, it's called Colors in the Storm, and the music is just unbelievable, and the subject matter is fantastic. It's about Tom Thompson. Tom Thompson is a very famous now Canadian artist, part of the group of seven. They're known worldwide. And their work just is striking. And this play called Colors in the Storm is all about Tom Thompson and his somewhat incredibly interesting life, but his tragic death under some kind of weird circumstances. Anyway, I've always wanted, if I ever won a lottery, I've always said to myself, I was going to work with Jim and produce that play, because it is a play that needs to be seen and enjoyed, in particular, in my personal opinion, by every kid in school across the country. It's that exciting a play, and the music is just haunting. It's incredible. It's uplifting. It's like everything you could imagine. So I started thinking to myself, down the line, would Colors in the Storm possibly be fodder, shall we say, for Steem Film? And it just very likely might be. What we may end up looking at is the prospect of working with Jim and producing this into a film. Or, quite frankly, why not produce it as a stage play? It would be a dynamic opportunity if and when we get to a Steem Film token, or I should say Steemit token, community token, an ongoing stage play that could run for 10 years is just, well, the thought of it, I mean, it just strikes me as being a perfect scenario for Steem Film. Jim and I we've worked so closely before, and he's somebody that is so exciting to deal with and work with that I'll be talking to Dan at Starlight about this, and I will be probably engaging Jim and to see if there's something that we might be able to do about getting the rights to that. But anyways, damn exciting, and the hair is bristling on the back of my neck at the thought of this. I just wish it's something that you could see. I really do. Anyways, having said that, that's where we are today. I'm just throwing these things out for discussion, and that's really what we want to do, right? And I'm trying to get back to everybody who comments. So bear with me. This was a lot of logistical stuff, maybe not that interesting, but hey, hopefully interesting enough to keep your attention towards our launch of the introduction blog on Tuesday for Steem Film. Okay, so there we go. That's it. Have a great day. Sunny as hell here, and we're going into a couple of scorchers. So I got to get my air conditioner in. Talk to you later, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.